Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So we got Nate Lane up here at That's Check Nate on Twitter. And he says he's surprised he's not seeing more charts showing this macro trend line backtest. And what he does is he brings up the Bitcoin chart here and he shows a very, very significant trend line here going from the top of the Bitcoin rally. This is on the weekly, by the way. And following that trend line from all the Bitcoin tops, and realizing that we are actually getting backtested here where we are today after this correction. Now, some people down here in the thread saying, why isn't it not working on my Bitcoin chart? And the reason could be various different things. I mean, each exchange trades Bitcoin at different prices, so it might not fit exactly. Nate Lane says that he has his on log scale. Again, this guy here taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, and it's not really exact, but I think you guys get the point. If you're fairly close on the line, that's mostly good enough. And what's more important is to see that, I'll just bring it up, I'll bring Bitcoin up here on the daily. What's more important is that we are seeing the back test, and now we are seeing the rebound come back up. So Bitcoin did drop, of course, but now we are seeing that rebound back up. Now, guys, here's XRP on the daily. I'm going to bring it to you on the hourly for a second here. And yesterday I did a video basically delineating the next demand zone, that next level of support that we need to kind of fall in before XRP can really rebound. And when I did that video yesterday morning, I released it yesterday morning when I was doing my research, we were somewhere in and around here. Okay, this is yesterday, this is on the hourly, and then from there we did actually move further down throughout the day, and now we are rebounding back up. XRP right now trading just shy of 26 cents, 0.259 cents. So when we zoom out to the daily, you guys can see that I still have the zones, marked down here on the chart, and this was the zone I drew yesterday from yesterday's video. I'll link it up here, yesterday's video, if you didn't see it. But here's the zone, and when you actually, when you actually take that zone and move it over, now you can see, okay, we did actually dip down into that zone, and we are seeing some bounce back. Now, what could happen from here is a very, very good question. Could we go down here, bounce back, and kind of do what I was imagining we would do, is basically trend within this area for a little while before coming back out of that? Now, of course, that is going to depend on Bitcoin, and since Bitcoin has bounced back after this retest, it'll be very, very interesting to see what comes next. Okay, let's not forget the rest of the market is just mimicking Bitcoin. So XRP obviously bouncing back as well. We did assume that it would come down into this zone, or at least I did. So where are we going to be trading from here? I have a feeling there's still going to be some cooling down to be had before the next leg up. So guys, did you put your buy orders in anywhere between 22 cents, let's call it, and 24 cents? If you have, put it down in the comments. If you scooped up some more XRP, I want to know. Gonna keep moving along, guys. So cryptocurrency is obviously alive and well, and the United States obviously wanting to be a major player in this. Crypto mom Hester Peirce wants to tweak existing regulations to make it both easier for Americans to access regulated cryptocurrency markets and more attractive for cryptocurrency companies to fundraise within reasonable frameworks. So this from XRP Crypto Wolf. Hester Peirce, the regulator affectionately known as Crypto Mom, was last month sworn in for a second term as a commissioner of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. In an interview with Decrypt, she talked about what she foresees for her next 5 years at the agency. And here's a quote, guys. Decentralized finance is going to cause the SEC to sit down and ask some fundamental questions about regulations, she said. To be sure, decentralized finance is the summer's hot topic amongst the cryptocurrency set, but it's a tricky one for the SEC to deal with. It comprises of non-custodial lending protocols, synthetic stocks and exchanges, and a lot of food references. On the one hand, some lawyers are convinced that it involves the distribution of securities, exactly the remit of the SEC. But DeFi seeks to avoid this. The leading protocols have aggressively moved to decentralize. So this from Pally at Stephen D. Pally on Twitter. Most so-called governance tokens are probably securities. That's it. That's the tweet. So that's his opinion on this. But what's the SEC supposed to do? File a lawsuit against community composed of thousands of anonymous users? It is here that Peirce gets at the heart of the issue. The goal of DeFi, as I understand it, is to eliminate intermediaries and allow people to engage with one another directly. Peirce says, and typically the way regulators have regulated the financial system is to regulate intermediary. So this is making it very, very difficult to regulate the intermediaries, and the United States government is obviously trying to find ways in order to make this easy on them, in order not to lose their power. And Hester Peirce, says, look, guys, we have to move with the times. There is a way to regulate it. We have to figure out what that is. But realistically, this is not going away, and so she's pro-cryptocurrency. We know that already, guys. I'll leave this article in the description if you want to read further. I'm going to keep moving along, guys, with this from Michael at Val5 Links. MIT is helping the Boston Fed build a CBDC that can be scaled for consumer use. So more innovation in the space for Americans specifically, and an American central bank digital currency. So the MIT Digital Currency Initiative, the DCI, is helping the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston build a digital currency with the goal of scaling for consumer use. The DCI's director, Neha Narula, told Cointelegraph in a statement, here's the quote, "We're trying to build a high throughput, low latency transaction system that could be used by consumers and could handle the security and resilience required for a national currency." Now, guys, later on in the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Brian Brooks and his thoughts on FedNow's 2024 timeline. And regardless of that, though, it looks as though CBDCs are pushing forward. But again, it's still going to take time. The multi-year collaboration between the two organizations is still in its very early stages, and not much information is being released to the public. Yet the focus is not on building a newer version of interbank, but rather something that the consumers would be able to use. It is hard to estimate the required transactional throughput of such technology, but considering that the US population is around 330 million, and the fact that the dollar is the most widely used currency in the world, that may change soon. Some nations have been officially adopting it. This number would have to be rather high. So Narula said that the DCI's task is to build a technology that will be released under the MIT license. So they do say that they are roughly 2 to 3 years away, and that this is still going to take some time. But realistically, they're looking to create a CBDC, and the throughput is really what's going to matter. Obviously, it has to be able to handle world trade, being a global reserve CBDC, I suppose, at least at this point in time, not to mention all the other needs for everyday citizens to be using the CBDC within national transactions. So I thought that was interesting. I would have hoped that the United States would be further ahead with this because the space is moving fast and it's not slowing down for anyone. Which brings me to this, guys. Originally, I saw this on Twitter from DJ Peter Vass at PeterVass6, and some people are dubbing this the latest Ripple killer. This has to do with real-time gross border payments and this new company that's getting into the mix. So let's talk a little bit about this. First, I want to read you guys this article, and then we're going to talk about it, how it could affect Ripple, if it could affect Ripple and XRP, and possibly some of the upsides. So you saw this in the news yesterday. Real-time cross-border payment innovator could cut trillions from global financial friction. Sounds like something Ripple is doing first and foremost, but let's not get too worried right away. So American corporations may soon be able to send payments to foreign suppliers faster than they can settle accounts domestically through a company that is changing the way correspondent banking works. RTGS.global, so that's the company name founded by Nick Ogden, who started WorldPay and most recently ClearBank, is using the latest technology from Microsoft's Azure cloud platform to enable bank-to-bank cross-border payments in nearly real time, 50 milliseconds, so actually under 1 second, pretty much eliminating the risk of FX exchange rate movements and Herstat risk, the danger that the bank liable for paying its side of the transaction goes bust before the transaction is completed. Ogden said that IMF experts briefed on the concept think it could take up to $15 trillion in global financial friction. He had estimated $2.7 trillion. In any event, the actual figure is nearly impossible to determine, especially ahead of implementation. See Yogi Berra's prediction in Difficult, especially about the future. Keep going down here. Okay, so the effect is somewhat similar to the Continuous Linked Settlement Bank, the CLS, which does real-time exchanges of participating currencies and uses sophisticated tools to reduce the actual cash tied up in the transactions, but that was designed for wholesale banking. RTGS.global uses patent-pending technology to identify and freeze assets at the sending and receiving bank and then authorize the transaction, which takes place in 50 milliseconds. So what they do is identify and freeze the assets. So technically, it's not, I guess, happening in real time. It's being frozen for that short amount of time, but essentially, I suppose it's real time. As the company explains in its announcement, Through its patent-pending liquidity lock and block system, RTGS.global locks available liquidity at two counterparty banks before sending a liquidity block message to complete the transaction. This whole process can just take 50 milliseconds to complete, enabling real-time bilateral settlement of funds. The result is RTGS.global, an international system that transforms the challenges of legacy correspondent banking and international banking. Settlement and counterparty credit risk become non-existent. There's no need to pre-fund a Nostro account, and 24/7 365 availability drastically improves the end customer experience, dramatically improving commercial cash flows. The firm has scaled up the capability to meet commercial requirements. Doing a single transaction is one thing, but doing 300,000, is that supposed to be 300,000 or 30,000? At the same atomic settlement in 130 countries is another, Ogden said. This would not have been possible even 2 years ago, he added. So here's a quote. 2 years ago, you couldn't have built RTGS. You wouldn't have had the speed for 50 millisecond finality. It's only now because of investment in cloud and technology that we are able to deliver, he said. Nobody's done this before, going down to liquidity level and using that as the validator for the transaction. We are using effective synthetic central bank money, so the money exists in BOE or Fed at the time of the transaction. Guys, this is the first hint that this is not a Ripple killer, by the way. We're going to get back to that in a second. It transforms the way high-speed international transactions can operate and de-risk it, and it delivers a multitude of benefits for businesses, consumers, banks, and regulators. The solution doesn't use blockchain because it isn't fast enough, and it doesn't use crypto. So here's another difference from RippleNet and XRP. Fiat is all that is required, said Ogden. The speed of the transaction means FX rates are fixed and held for every individual transaction, which is real-time settled. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to stop there. This is a fairly lengthy article, and of course I will link it in the description for those of you guys who want to read further. Let's go back here and talk about this for a second. So we are using effectively synthetic central bank money. So the money exists in BOE or Fed at the time of the transaction. What he is suggesting is that the money needs to exist in order for this financial transaction to occur. Now, you know why that's a problem? I'll tell you why that's a problem. Now, we know for RippleNet there's a major difference there. It utilizes XRP to source liquidity. So if you have a fiat to fiat transfer in very, very liquid corridors where money is already at the funded locations, maybe RippleNet and XRP isn't necessarily the right choice for that particular transaction, and maybe someone would use a system like RTGS. But guys, it's when the liquidity is sparse, and it's when the corridors are exotic. And not only that, this RTGS system sounds like it's only going to be transferring fiat to fiat currencies, as mentioned here in this statement. We know XRP has the potential for so much more, basically exchanging value, no matter what that is, across a network and sourcing liquidity in essentially real time for doing just that. Guys, we also have to remember that Brad Garlinghouse has said that there will not be one player in this space that will take over the entire market. There's not going to be a monopoly on this. We know Ripple and XRP are going to have a very, very specific spot in this space, but there will be room for other players, namely, guys like Ogden bringing in their RTGS system. This to me sounds like it would be more of a threat to Swift, considering Swift uses very ancient technology and does focus on fiat to fiat transfers. This is more of a Swift killer than anything, but RippleNet, guys, there is so much more involved there. And guys, I want to keep going on here because Phil D. XRP brought up this Arturo Pertilla thread about this. And so Arturo Pertilla is talking about the same article that I just read through, and he gives his 2 cents here, but then he added some bonus tweets at the end here after he was thinking about this system and the potential outcome for Ripple. So he goes on to say, reading RTGS.global website with further detail, I think I now understand to which extent their solution will remove Nostro pre-funding, which I will explain herein below. RTGS.global will ask commercial banks to create accounts in the former's platform. These accounts will keep track of the liquidity held by such banks, either in their Nostro or Vostro accounts, their NVs, at any given time. These liquidity accounts will be synced with RTGS global platform and will allow other third-party correspondent banks, CBs, to see in real time the amount of liquidity available in their counterparty CBs, Nostro, and Vostro accounts. So essentially, it won't be a guessing game. They'll be able to look at the counterparty's Nostro Nostro and Vostro accounts, see how much money is in those accounts, and therefore will make a decision whether a transaction can be made or not with said money being in those accounts. Again, guys, this is a downside for them and an upside for RippleNet and XRP, because RippleNet and XRP do not need the Nostro and Vostro accounts. This is why XRP exists. You use the XRP to source that liquidity, and then on the other end, you source liquidity in the counterparty's fiat currency and make the exchange in 3 seconds. So Arturo Portillo continues on by saying, hence, when starting an international payment, an originating CB will be allowed to see the available liquidity in a given destination at a given time, being able to check if that central bank's liquidity can support the international payment. Without such visibility into Nostro and Vostros and the available liquidity therein, central banks would have been typically asked to pre-fund the liquidity needed to support the intended international payment. In other words, RTGB does eliminate Nostro pre-funding, but only to the extent there is enough liquidity already available and locked, he puts in quotes, at any given time. The system, therefore, still relies on Nostro and Vostro accounts. So Arturo Portilla also picking up on this, the fact that this is a very rudimentary, I suppose, version of RippleNet. That is, it's got the speed, it's got the efficiency, but it still needs to get a snapshot of their counterparty's liquidity to see if there is enough in order to make this transaction occur. Whereas we know XRP created to be that liquid digital asset in order to source liquidity on demand. That's the difference, and guys, in my opinion, that's the future. So this was a very interesting thread. Many other people were commenting down here. There's a lot to go through. I'm not going to go through all of it because I've got a lot more to talk about today, guys. I'm going to continue on here. Mac Attack XRP says 73 million XRP is sent through Ripple's unannounced Asian ODL corridor. Wait a minute. There's an Asian ODL corridor? Apparently so. Let me read you this. Around 73 million XRP have been transacted through an unannounced Asian corridor that links the two biggest crypto markets, along with Ripple wiring 19 million XRP according to data shared by the XRPL monitor. So the ODL corridor unannounced by Ripple, as per several recent tweets posted by the XRPL monitor, 73 million XRP have been transferred by BitBank and BitThumb, major cryptocurrency exchanges in Japan and South Korea, respectively. Earlier this year, the Bitfinex exchange published a post on its blog saying that the Ripple giant had connected these two major cryptocurrency markets with an on-demand liquidity corridor. This blog post states that BitBank and BitThumb are the two platforms that are making up an Asian ODL corridor that Ripple had never announced publicly. So there you have it, guys, and here are the snapshots from the XRPL monitor. Whoops, where'd that go? Okay, that just disappeared. That's very strange. Gonna close that, reopen a window here. Interesting, though, to say the least, the XRPL monitor noticing that there is a new Asian ODL corridor unannounced by Ripple. So Ripple obviously still plugging away, still in the game, making ODL their mission, continuing to do this. I wonder when there will be an official announcement. I have a feeling it'll be when crypto Twitter, people from the XRP community will be tweeting at Brad Garlinghouse and Ashish Burla saying, hey, this Asian corridor thing, is this a thing? Please tell me, please tell me, please tell me. I seriously wonder if that tends to spur on members at Ripple to give us more information than they were intending to give us in the first place. Probably does, but anyway, gonna keep going, guys. This is another one from XRP Crypto Wolf. Ripple partner SBI Holdings is planning to set up a blockchain-based digital stock exchange. So Ripple partner SBI Holdings looking to set up a blockchain-based stock exchange. Yoshitaka Kitao, president and CEO at SBI Holdings, announced the company's plans to collaborate with Osaka Prefecture to establish a new global financial hub. The new international financial center will purportedly be located in Osaka and Kobe, Nikkei reports on September 2nd. SBI is planning to launch a digital stock exchange based on blockchain technology. The exchange is expected to attract global fintech companies and contribute to the development of the financial hub. Kitao emphasized that the establishment of the Osaka Financial Hub is the last chance for the city to gain the status of an international financial center. This is a quote from him. The executive also said it is necessary to create new financial hubs in Japan, arguing that focusing just on Tokyo brings significant risks. So boom, SBI Holdings being a major part of this, looking to expand the financial sectors in Japan with a new blockchain-based digital stock exchange in Osaka. Thought that was pretty interesting. Guys, this next piece of news I think you'll want to hear because it has to do with the value associated with your Spark tokens once you get them based on the XRP that you currently hold. Okay, guys, this from James Rule XRP on Twitter. And, this caught my attention. Whoa, am I reading this right? Stable token based on the US dollar? Is this Spark? So let me read you this about the stable token. Flare will shortly be releasing a draft token white paper detailing the construction and decentralized management of the native stablecoin. Okay, you heard that. This draft white paper will then form the basis for further internal research and external consultation with partners, validators, the crypto community, and external experts. Current expectations are that the stablecoin will be pegged to the US dollar and allow for creation in part by burning XRP. Now, hang on a minute. We're supposed to get one-to-one stablecoins for the XRP that we currently hold. Are you telling me that although XRP is worth 25 cents or 26 cents at the moment, that we can get something that is worth $1 and that it is a stablecoin, that it's pegged to the US dollar based on how much XRP we'll have? Now, this sounds too good to be true, in my opinion, and this is why I have to do more research on this. So, going down in this thread, I did a little more research online, but realistically, there was nowhere else where this was suggested. I went down here. Frecky says, I'll take it. $1 is good with me if you all can make that happen, with a bit of a smirking and a laughing emoji. But then Kevin Bledstow posts this. Flare believes in full transparency. The information contained in this post was part of our development process, but is no longer accurate. A complete spec of the Flare network is located here. So it looks as though that could have been a possibility at a point in time, although chances are it is not going to occur. So they asked the question, what happened to the native stablecoin mentioned in your previous blog? We had what we think are very strong concepts for a USD denominated stablecoin, but it required extensive re-engineering of the Ethereum virtual machine, which would have delayed launch and had unpredictable effects on future compatibility with the EVM. Spark, as it is structured, offers much greater utility and benefit to both the XRP community and to the XRP ledger. So there you have it, guys. It doesn't look like it is going to be pegged one-to-one to the US dollar. That's not to say that it won't be worth $1 one day. Matthew Harper asks a very interesting question here. Would a stable token under the same umbrella of networks as XRP help with the liquidity issue? Is that the final piece they need for this to work? Very interesting question. Sasa P down here writes, lately, the more I read and try to understand how XRP value will appreciate, the more I get confused. This journey is wild and like an insane volatile roller coaster. You really got to be patient and be able to stick with it and just wait for it to play out. If not, good luck. And I feel like, this is a lot of people in the space, especially if you are brand new to the space. I only know what I know based on the amount of research I do daily. Literally, guys, every single day. I make a video every single day. And so I've been in this space for a while. I see all the news that comes out. I see all the FUD that comes out. I've seen at least 4 or 5 potential quote-unquote ripple killers in those last 2.5 years or so. And yes, it is true. You got to stick with it. You got to keep engaging and you got to keep educating yourself. But the fact of the matter remains, once you realize how big this is going to get, it's just going to blow your mind. And I wanted to bring this up because I thought this was interesting. This from K. Kyriakopoulos on Twitter. And he posted this interview with Brian Brooks. And listen to what he has to say about FedWire's 2024 timeline.
I have a limited time here. I wanted to switch to sort of what the OCC has been doing in the charter space. You recently mentioned the OCC was thinking about issuing a national bank charter for payments companies. Already, BPI has a real-time payments project. The Federal Reserve has promised the FedNow real-time system by 2024. You have companies like Stripe, Square, and PayPal that are seemingly capable of providing similar services. So how does the OCC's charter fit into that space?
Well, let's unpack a couple of things you've said, Rachel. So the Fed is working on a project that will be ready in 2024. Let's just pause on that for a moment. 2024. Today is 2020. The United Kingdom already has a real-time payment system in 2020. And America, the leader of the financial services world, will have it in 2024. I think that's unacceptable from a competitive standpoint, right? This country is a leader in two industries in the world at the moment, financial services and technology. The idea that we're going to allow Singapore, China, the UK, and the EU to leapfrog us in terms of faster payments, much the way that other countries got 5G telecommunications long before we're ever going to have that, should give us pause. It should really give us pause. And so the question I have is, when real-time payments technology is available today in the form of private blockchains that already exist and are transacting $350 or $400 billion of market cap every day, I guess I ask myself, why do we want to wait for those things? So, you mentioned some of these bank-owned payment networks, which are far from real time, which have chargeback risk, which have error rates and things like that. And I just question whether those are good enough for the modern economy.
Are they good enough for the modern economy? Clearly, Brian Brooks does not think so. And he also talks about private blockchain companies. Now, he doesn't mention Ripple, but he talks about private blockchain companies transacting in large volumes every single day. And this is happening today. This is not happening in 2024. This is happening today. Clearly, we see Brian Brooks is on track. He wants to get this up and running. A few things I wanted to mention with regards to that Brooks video. In the Federal Reserve's FedNow project, bullish for Ripple. So he's talking about FedNow's project and looking to expedite it because he doesn't want the likes of Singapore and China and many other countries to get ahead of the United States, considering the United States is number one right now. So this article was back from November 2019 when it was originally announced. I'll link the article in the description, not going to get into it in depth, but ultimately there were rumblings that this could incorporate RippleNet and XRP. So obviously people in the XRP community were questioning that, were wondering about that. And then Dilip Rao, who is an employee of Ripple, tweeted this out. Great move. FedNow will drive the transformation to real-time payments infrastructure around the world, both domestic and cross-border. It's Ripple's mission for the Internet of Value. So first there's that. Dilip Rao commenting that it's great that FedNow wants to do this. Guys, I also did a video a couple of weeks ago now with regards to Jen Chang. She was a former Ripple employee. This is the video here. I will link it up here in the top right-hand corner for those of you guys who want to watch it. She was a former Ripple employee, and then she was finally listed as senior counsel in this FedNow document that came out again, this from 2 weeks ago. I want to keep moving along, though, just to remind you, Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse was seen twice in the White House. Could it be for XRP disclosure? And this came out at the beginning of the month. Okay, just reiterating that Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, did indeed have meetings with the Trump administration about, one could only imagine it had to do with faster payments. I mean, why else would Brad Garlinghouse be there? I don't know, maybe he's talking about golf or something, but I highly doubt it. And just to reiterate, guys, this is where we're going. This from Michael at Val5Links on Twitter. This represents the first time a fintech has acquired a nationally chartered and regulated bank, according to CNBC. So this with regards to GECO, and they have become the first fintech to swallow a national bank. Guys, it's getting real very, very quickly. An upstart fintech founded by a former Goldman Sachs trader has wrapped up a deal to acquire a brick-and-mortar bank in Minnesota. GECO, a digital bank, is taking a big step in the world of traditional banking, having just completed its acquisition of Mid-Central National Bank, formerly Mid-Central Federal Savings Bank, based in Minnesota. This represents the first time a fintech has acquired a nationally chartered and regulated bank. So the flippening is coming, guys. Fintechs now acquiring real traditional brick and mortar banks. How much longer before we are all on the blockchain, transferring money through various different methods? They will include blockchain, they will include RTGS.global, and most likely a handful of others. There isn't going to be just one winner in the space, guys. There will be multiple, and XRP is on its way to fame. Anyways, that's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.